Greetings, this is 406 Gunners here today. We'll be coming to you with a little bit different video than we normally make. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so getting out and doing our normal shooting videos just wasn't going to be an option. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of a review and comparison of what are considered two of the most accurate surplus rifles available. So first we'll be looking at the Finnish M39 Mosin Nagant. Very well known and respected rifles. And the Swiss K31, also known for being very accurate, very popular for target shooting. So I haven't seen much in the comparison directly of the two guns as to which is better, which might make the better battle rifle, and just which is more accurate in general. So we will start with the review of the Finnish M39. So these guns were essentially regular old Mosin Nagants originally that the Finns took and upgraded. And when I say upgraded, I mean everything on this gun is new except for the magazine housing and the action. So this gun has actually an antique 1895 Tula receiver, but it was rebuilt in, I believe, 1942 to be an M39. They replaced the stock, the original one, with a pistol grip stock. Put a heavier barrel on it. This one's a Seiko. New sights, which are more finely adjustable. And a new match trigger in it. Or at least feels like a match trigger. Just overall, better gun. I've had 9130s, great rifles. This one is definitely the better shooter. Downside to it, I will say it has the original Mosin action, hasn't been changed. They did put a better interrupter in them. This gun, when I got it, had a lot of rounds through it. It actually had the headspace set back so bad it would not extract, so I was forced to replace the bolt head with a brand new one. Works fine now. Barrel's also quite worn on this gun. So the K31, just quick review. It's 7.5 Swiss. Straight pull action, which is different. Very smooth. It's a little bit stiff when you run it like this, but from the shoulder, very fast, very nice. Has a very nice two-stage trigger to it. That's your safety and your firing pin. And just overall, nice gun. They're very well regarded. So, how do they compare with each other? Well, for starters, historically, the M39 saw combat, the K31 did not. 39 in fact saw a lot of combat. They did not really see much use in the Winter War, but did see a lot in the Continuation War afterwards. They'd just been developed. K31, obviously, neutral rifle, saw little to no combat. I don't know about maybe small border skirmishes in World War II, but I'm not even sure on that. Cartridge-wise, Finnish Mosin 7.62 by 54R. K31 7.5 by 55. Both good cartridges, relatively similar ballistics. Ironically, the 7.5 Swiss is actually the older of the two, even though it's the more modern. It came out in 1889, I believe. It originally had a heeled bullet like a 22. This would be the GP11 equivalent, which is the more modern bullet. So, Swiss rifle, more modern cartridge, very similar power-wise. Feeding-wise, the Swiss use these funky packet loading system stripper clips. This one's a 3D printed reproduction, but seems to work pretty well. And then obviously the Mosin uses the stripper clip system. So both guns are very well known for their accuracy. 9-hole reviews tested them. The K31 did very well. Of all of the iron-sighted surplus rifles 9-hole has tested, the Finnish M39 has done the best. So just to give some perspective as to my qualifications for giving an opinion, I've never been military or police. I have shot competitive service rifle, been to Camp Perry twice, even did gold medal in a John C. Grand match, but I wouldn't consider myself a great shooter, but okay. As far as shooting these guns, The K31 I have a little bit of a disadvantage in my opinion on because I've only been able to shoot it with PPU ammunition, whereas the M39 I've tried just about everything except for the original Finnish ammo, which is quite hard to come by. But as far as group size, they really do shoot quite similarly, probably about a minute and a half guns. The M39, I should add though, this barrel is tired. I mean, it's rifling at the throat's probably worn away by about that far. The K31 has a brand new barrel, or appears brand new. Impressions of shooting, they both shoulder well. I think the M39 is more comfortable. It has a better length of pull to it, fits me better. Whereas the K31 really feels like it's shorter length of pull, a little bit too short. I could see it being good with a really heavy winter coat on, which it does get cold here in Montana. And I know it got cold in both Finland and Switzerland, so maybe not that big of an issue, but still, I feel like the M39 is more comfortable. I've actually heard it compared to being a bolt-action M1 Garand in feel, and that is actually very close. Sight picture. This is somewhere I also believe the M39 has a big advantage. Its rear sight is much crisper looking through it. They're both not bad. They both have pretty thick front sights, which a lot of target shooters enjoy. But on the M39, it is farther forward, which does reduce sight radius, which could be a hindrance to accuracy, but it doesn't seem to be too bad of an issue. K31, they decided to try to stretch as much radius as they could out of it, and they moved it back. That is a nice thing, except that, especially for someone farsighted like me, this is a very fuzzy looking sight picture now on the rear sight. Still able to shoot a decent group with it, so must not be too bad of a thing, but something to consider. Other considerations, weight, they're both heavy. I'd probably say both about like an M1 Garand. They're thick rifles. As to if I'd say combat-wise, which one would I prefer? Having never been in a gunfight, I don't know how valid my opinion would be, but I would actually probably say the K31. I think the M39 is actually a little more pleasant to shoot with and might be a little more accurate, easier to shoot. But it has the Mosin action. Now the bolt itself, while being slow, is not really the problem here. The problem comes down to loading it with these clips. I have had repeated jams using these stripper clips where the rounds get hung up in the interrupter. Under stress, that's going to be even worse, where I'm shooting in nice controlled range conditions. I do not want my gun jamming under pressure. Now, I know that probably is a training issue. The Finns very much like these guns. I consider it an excellent weapon. But that reliability issue alone could be an issue for me. Never had that with the K31. It's very smooth. Another advantage the K31 has simply is it's a much faster action, which is nice. I suppose the one disadvantage being it could burn through ammo. Durability-wise, they've both been known to be very durable guns. Obviously, K31 hasn't been tested in combat, but there doesn't really seem to be anything reported in the shooting community that would suggest it'd be unreliable. And if you've seen my video in the cold weather test, both guns function flawlessly. Although, actually, prior to that video, this one had jammed and took about 10 minutes to clear from the interrupter. So, as far as target shooting wise, in a match, I'd probably still say I'd prefer the K31, simply because it does seem like in a match you tend to have jams at the worst possible moment, and I feel that would be more likely with the M39, but I'd be happy with either gun. And as far as hunting, I might actually say I'd prefer the M39, simply because it is easier to shoot, and you're not really worried about rapid fire and reloads. So as far as accuracy, I found them to be pretty much the same. Like I said, about a minute and a half. And I'd probably consider them to be pretty evenly matched guns. I think had the Finns switched to these and the Swiss had these, probably wouldn't have that big of a difference in an alternate reality. But I really feel the Finns did a good job using what they had with the Mosin actions. The triggers on the guns, this Finnish one I would describe as a hair trigger, whereas this is a nice clean two-stage. Both very nice triggers. One other gun, just to bring into the discussion a little bit, that might come up in the conversation of most accurate. bolt action surplus rifles. This is a Swiss G9611 in 7.5 Swiss. Also very accurate. I might say it might even be a little more accurate than the K31. It has an action comparably smooth. It is long and heavy, which is less modern. The sight picture is far superior to the K31. Might even be better than the Mosin. But I would say this one, as far as a fighting rifle, I would consider inferior for one reason, and that being it has a 300-meter battle zero. You have to aim about belt buckle level to hit an upper chest with it. So I feel that under pressure, it'd be really easy to shoot over the top of someone with this. Or hunting, really the same story. But this gun also very nice. As far as a target gun, I could see it actually performing quite well against the other two. Well, I hope that this review was helpful today. If you have any questions and want me to do a follow-up review, let me know. And thank you for watching.